This is another episode of Meet Our Sheroes for all our audience at Global Women Power. And today we are meeting with Dr. Jacqueline Parson. Did I say your name right?
Yes, you did. That's totally fine,
Thank
Dr.
you.
Madden. Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Yes, it is a great privilege going through her bio. And I thought if she can enhance the beauty side of ours, which is most important, and which we are all proud of. And for that, you're here today. And
Yes.
I will pass it on to you. The way we cover it is, where you are today and from where you started and what is your vision. Bit by bit, we will cover.
Okay, great. I love it. Yeah, so I'm what you call a serial entrepreneur. I became that sort of over the last, I would say, several years of my life. I've been in fashion and beauty and luxury for the last 20 years. Hi, Nancy.
The doctor.
It's nice
Yeah.
to finally meet you.
Oh, you're so pretty, just like your picture. I mean, my
Oh, thank you.
Maybe
Appreciate
prettier than
that.
that. Prettier than that.
pretty.
Thank you so much, ladies. I really appreciate it. No, I was just discussing and introducing myself to the audience and just giving a bit of a background on my professional career. So, just to kind of recap again,
Yes.
I've been an entrepreneur for about 20 years, I would say. And I've worked for a variety of incredible companies in that where I've gained experience. But funny enough, my story started, I'm from the United Kingdom, I'm British, but my dream always was to be a fashion model. So I became a fashion model as soon as I could, and that was around 18 years old. And I was in a modeling competition with Storm Model Management. And that's how my whole career started in fashion. So it started in fashion first, and then it developed into television and media. And then, fast forward a good decade, I was in the media world for quite a long time. And I interviewed many celebrities and just got incredible traction with major beauty brands around the world and fashion houses. So I worked for a really great company called Mode Media, and they were out of New York and also California. I did that for a good decade, over a decade. And then from there, I decided to, probably several years later, educate myself as well. I got a PGD in digital marketing. Prior to that, I worked for Mr. Tom Ford. I worked for his fashion house, learned everything I could about beauty and luxury from him. And he's an amazing person to work for his company. And then fast forward to 2018, and here I am founding my first company. So I founded Lux Digital now, which was an LLC and a corporation. And then from there came several subsidiary companies, which I founded. So I founded companies in cosmetics, entertainment. So basically, a cosmetic company, the one that you see behind me, to LDN Model Agency, which is an entertainment modeling agency, talent agency, and then also about 4 to 5 different technologies, which were all ventured around beauty tech, data tech, and so forth. So I became a technologist without knowing it. And I was very honored. It was always my goal to get a doctorate. So I got my doctorate as well. So I finally feel at my age now, 46, coming up in a month, that I can actually say, hey, I did it. I actually made it. So I created a portfolio of companies. And from that portfolio of companies, basically, you can either, those are assets. Businesses are assets. People don't recognize that. They think, oh, I have to work a job. I have to go 9 to 5. I have to do that for the next 30 years to really make it. No, you don't. You really don't. So that's sort of my story. So the future, where I see the future is, I'm one of those women that are kind of lucky that I was smart. I invested in myself. I invested in a variety of businesses. And then when I, decide to liquidate those, then I can go ahead and start a new venture. And I think my new adventure is either going to be back in the beauty world, probably with a spa or art gallery, because I actually have an art gallery degree as well. So I'm sorry, an art major, and I've been in art galleries as well. So between the two, it's sort of like that. But then I'm always getting pulled back into tech. So I'm always being asked to come back into technology, so we'll see. But my specialties in technology as a technologist is augmented reality, virtual reality, and artificial intelligence technologies, but mostly for the beauty industries and so forth. But that's sort of my story so far.
You have tried your best to summarize it. I can tell that it is hard to summarize,
Very.
right?
There's a lot of information, a lot of meat in there, you know.
Of course, So as we go by the definition of an entrepreneur,
Mm,
and by the dictionary meaning, it says one who takes risk,
yes.
right? And I always say that risk is not a calculated risk. That is not called a risk,
Right.
right? So
Right.
tell us about your adventure spirit.
Adventurous, I would so concur with that. I do have definitely an adventurous spirit. It's funny you bring up risk because sometimes it's a risk not to take a risk, right? And, if I'm out there giving advice to young women my own age, women that really want to venture into themselves, my advice is take risk, take some risk, take some good risk. There's nothing wrong with that. You risk your everyday, going to work for someone else. You risk your everyday driving in a vehicle. I mean, these are all risks, right? But the only risk that you have when you go into being an entrepreneur or a businesswoman is the fear of failure. And so when you think you're going to fail, so if you start off like that, you're not going to win. You've got to think to yourself, no, this is an investment of my time. And this is an investment of an asset I'm building. So that's how I look at it. So I don't really look at it as a risk. I look at it as an investment. And it's an investment of time, effort, energy, and also, monetarily, it can be. But at the same time, the nice thing is what people don't recognize about anything is that people think the only kind of investments out there is solid investments like, real estate or gems, which are good. Those are all great investments. Absolutely invest in those things. But businesses and your career are also in your investment. So for me, I'm very adventurous. Yes, you have to have a very, you know, I would say adventurous spirit to even do or even partake in being an entrepreneur or a female entrepreneur in life. And it takes a lot of courage, dedication, discipline, no different than anything else. But I would say that the excitement of the journey is what's there to be enjoyed. But at the end of the day, you're still building something. And that's what's vital to remember. So at the end of the day, like I said, for me personally, I built a portfolio of companies, whereas for some women out there, it might be just one company or two or just one career. It doesn't matter. I mean, I still champion women on that want to do what their vocation is. That just became my vocation. And it was funny because I always felt that even though I worked for other companies over my career, I felt it just didn't suit me. So it just didn't suit me as a person to continue doing that. But I'm very happy with what I've done so far, and it was well worth it. That's for sure.
So in order to make progress, only talent is enough, or you need to have money as well.
I think you can do it on pure talent too. You really can. I mean, it just depends on what you're doing. You can bootstrap something from nothing and build it into something that makes money, and then you reinvest that money back.
Give a
That's
give
what
a case study to our audience.
what's that like a kid? Yeah, a good example is okay, my business. I bootstrapped it. I mean, then again, I had some money to invest, which I did. And then when it did make money, I reinvested that money. So every business I've had, I've bootstrapped. So basically, started with a very minimal amount and put a lot of effort, energy into it. A good example is businesses such as marketing or agency based work is easy to do because you get a clientele base. Same goes with, say, like a modeling agency. The only kind of business that you really need to put effort and energy into and finance backing into would be like tech. Tech is something you definitely need to do that with. But any other business, a drop shipping business, an e commerce business, those are all so tangible and so easy. very minimal cost to run, and the profits are really good. So, I mean, there's lots of examples I could give, but I think those are like the top three examples I could give of a great case study of my own personal experience of what I've done and achieved.
Hmm. And so I'm getting lost, along with what you're telling.
It's good. Yeah, this is good. We're just having a conversation. It's great.
So then, when you are making progress, is it meeting, will you call yourself a lucky person? Because people,
Right,
too simple to be too true, too simple to be true. And then, is it finding right people at the right time? You know,
right. I
so will you
I hear
attribute
you.
some factor like that?
It's funny because I get this asked all the time, and you do wonder: is it in the stars? Is it my astrology? Is it that I'm just a lucky person? Do I have charisma? Do I have charm? I think they all come into play. I really do. I think you can create luck. I think you can create, anybody can create a charismatic personality. It's just called being positive, right?
Mm,
Most people start their day and they're like 100% negative. The world's against them and they're not going to go anywhere, right? Or you've had, and I think the audience that we have here is women that are traumatized, women that have experienced trauma or some forms of abuse. And as women, we experience that more than any other gender, really, the male and female gender, right? Um, and I think that women experience that in business too, very much so. So you're right that it's really at the end of the day, it's having such a high level of determination to succeed that you keep going. It's called persistence, discipline, and educating yourself in what you're doing. Those are the real keys to success. Most people fail once, they give up. They
mm,
just completely give up. Now, you can't do that. For a business to be successful, you have to at least give it 3 years, 3 years of your time. And most companies or most entrepreneurs or investors come in 3 years and exit in 3 years. So
mm,
that's really the key. If that's the stroke of luck, then there it is. That's the key to the successful outcome. But I would say, yeah, I mean, I think if women have a high level of talent, absolutely use it. There is luck in the stars sometimes, and things do line up. They really, really do. But a lot of that is about your attitude. How much are you willing to go out there and make it happen? And how much are you willing to succeed in your own worth? I think that those create the luck and that creates the talent. So anybody can become talented in anything. They say you have to dedicate at least 10,000 hours of time
mm,
to, let's say, one subject. You do that, now you're a complete expert in it. And now you're also talented in it because you've done it for so long and you're brilliant at it. It's no different than a violinist. Are they good at first? No, they're not. But it takes them years of practice to become maestros or a protege. I don't believe in a protege. I think proteges are made through an envisionment of discipline within a subject. I think that's what creates a protege. But yeah, definitely, I think talent does come in, and I'm lucky. I've always had a lot of talent,
mm.
especially in the creative world. I'm a very good artist, model,
Talent
television
and genes
presenter.
also. You also got genes.
Oh, there you go. Genes helps, yes. It all really helps. And if you have it, use it, and don't let anybody knock you down and tell you otherwise. I think that's the biggest thing for women. We're always being knocked down. We're always being told we can't do it. We're always, if I'll tell you, there's so many occasions I've been rejected. And yet, if I was a man, I know I wouldn't be. That makes sense. It happens. It really does happen. So I want to encourage women to know that it's okay. You just keep, firing up your torch and you keep going. But yeah, I mean, I think talent and, an alignment with something positive is what really creates the miracle in the end.
So a couple of things I want to summarize from your this thing is if you spend 10,000 hours in doing something, you end up being a magician in that, you know.
Pretty much. They say, no, that's a fact. It's an actual fact. And it's a proven fact in the world of business or any level of professionalism is 10,000 hours. Now, I'm not saying people have to spend like 10,000 hours. It's just an actual case study that was done that states that most professionals that are successful in something, if you dedicate that level of time and effort and energy, I mean, no different than a gymnast or a sportsman or a sportswoman out there, they're dedicating hours after hours, day in, day out, year after year, doing that. Yeah, you're going to build some hours up and you're going to become brilliant at it. You really are.
Quality
So,
time, quality effort.
What's that?
Quality time, quality effort.
There you go. It's a combination, it really does make a difference.
And another thing you said that any talent can be brought in, you know, by working on it.
Absolutely. I mean, I wasn't a great, I never knew I'd be a technologist. That came out of nowhere. I mean, it was something that I was basically consulting with high level C-suite executives. They were coming to me with their problems. I had one particular executive come to me out of New York, and he says to me, I have this issue with my marketing. I don't know what to do. And so I came up with the only solution, which was a technology. And so I designed my first technology, AI DAS, and it's amazing what can come from problems. There's always a solution, and technology is basically backs up problematic situations, right? That's why we have tech, is to help us enhance certain lifestyle or work or whatever it's doing. And for me, it kind of just fell into that world, of tech. And then the next thing I knew, I was doing augmented reality solutions for beauty, and then I was doing mobile applications for the luxury industry. So before I knew it, I fell into tech. So yeah, that's tech, and talent can just fall into place. Yeah, so sometimes you have just undiscovered talents we don't even know we have until we try. And I think that that's a big key as well for women to go out there and try, give it a go, because you don't know what you'll find, within yourself.
And did you happen to create employment also for others?
For women, but just in general in my businesses, yes, I have. Yes, I've definitely created employment. I've given definitely a lot of different opportunities with my companies. So, even during the COVID pandemic, we still had a good structured employee structure as well. So definitely, and I'm always encouraging diversity in the workplace, major. I've always had women working at my companies. Sometimes it's difficult in technology because the only real specialists are men, So I don't really like to gender preferentiate or separate. It doesn't matter to me. Talent is talent, experience is experience, expertise is there. But absolutely, I've had interns, we've had, given opportunities to many different, young women, middle-aged women, just everybody that I love to have working at my companies. Definitely, it's been real enjoyable. That part has been enjoyable.
Of course, our organization is also not gender-based, or we are not being feminist, but whenever a woman is doing something, I feel like, yeah, we can do it.
No, it's so important. And whether we believe it or not, there is a subjectism of biasism in business. There is. It does exist. And I experience it all the time, And I've always said, like, even when I've tried to raise capital for my businesses, sometimes you're talking millions of dollars that you're trying to raise. And it's, again, you're fighting against the wave of male dominance in the industry, especially in tech. That's a big one. But you're right. I mean, I really feel there is the disposition for women to go out there and be more constructive in developing businesses, because what you're doing is you're creating, economic growth, social economic growth, career promises, career developments. You're creating so much by, doing that. And I think that that is a real amazing give back to society as a whole, is to create something that can be utilized to help support society as in general. So there's just so much to explore as a female entrepreneur.
Because when somebody looks at some woman or anybody who is holding a business, they think that it's all about them, I
Right.
personally feel that as a business person, it is all about you. You're always looking at people. How can you serve them? How can you help them? That is the key behind any successful business person, and that he is very helpful. So bringing it back to you is that, when every year, every person's goal also changes, not only making money, but helping others to learn as well how to do that, what I'm doing or what you're doing.
Right.
So have you started mentoring people now?
I've always mentored people. And I always will. I have and I always will. So it's just, I've mentored them in the workplace, I've mentored them outside of the workplace. By doing a lot of press like this is a form of mentorship, and talking to aspiring women out there that want to, be entrepreneurs or business owners or have a career. It just really depends. It doesn't matter. I mean, if you want to go out and become a medical doctor, go for it, and that's your time and dedication. That's your vocation to the world. But no, I would say people don't believe this, but when you're serving as a CEO or you're serving as a business owner, you're always in service of others. It's never about yourself. The only thing that is about yourself is the fact that your name is tied to every responsibility that goes with business ownership. People are so misled thinking that, oh, we're the most successful ones. No, we take on the most burdens. It's so easy to go out there and get a job. It's not easy to go out there and be a business owner and be, responsible for other people's jobs. That is a huge, huge difference. That weight on your shoulders is so different than the weight of a job. Okay. Or, I'm just saying it as it is, because that's really the reality that people don't understand. The sacrifices you make. The sacrifices you make basically is you work 24/7. You never sleep. You're always available for your staff. You're always available for your clients. Let's say, for instance, they have an issue, you've got to be there for them. It's not like I can just go 9 to 5, I'm in, I'm out, I can close the door and I'm done. No, it's never done. It's never done. It never ends. It's always constant. So the level of responsibility is higher, but the rewards can be higher too. So it just really depends on, if you really want to take on a journey where you are, incredibly responsible for other people and for their livelihood, then yes, then this is for you. But if that's not something that you want to do, then don't. But the stress levels are higher, and it comes with the territory. So it's not an easy path. I'm not saying it's ever an easy path. It's not at all.
You're married to your business, like married to
Exactly.
your job.
Yeah. It's almost, marriage is almost easier than a business. But you're married to the business, absolutely, until there comes a day where you feel that you want to maybe pass the torch on to someone else, and you sell your business, and that's when you could sort of come into the investment part of, yes, now you can actually reap the reward of this being an asset for yourself, and you can actually go ahead and move forward in a different direction for your life. So if you want to put the hard work in for a good decade, good 5, 7, 10 years into a business, then yeah, this is a great way to fast track an investment for yourself. I mean, that's just, what I've done, and it works. It's a really good formula.
Where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
That's a
And
great question.
what do you see yourself contributing in the world simultaneously 10 years from now?
Wow. That's an interesting question, Nancy, because there's a couple of ways I could go. Okay. And really we'll find out this week. Because
This week, huh?
this week, I'm telling you why, because I've got an opportunity with one of my businesses called Quantum Corp Technologies.
Wow.
And Quantum Corp is basically getting into the next level of tech. Okay. So if I'm going to dedicate my life for the next 3 to 5 years, it'd probably be there, because it's advancement in not only the human race as a whole, but in transportation engineering and quantum, physics, in how that is in our everyday life, to space, aviational travel, all kinds of different aspectations of what it can do for the world. So if I'm going to dedicate myself to something, that's dedication. That really is. And I could go that way. I could continue 100% in technology, or I could go the other way, depending, like I said, how this week turns out. And I could just go back into the art world again and then just enjoy that world, and basically either go into the beauty world, like I mentioned earlier, and enjoy giving back in that capacity with like a spa business, or basically, like I said, an art gallery of some form. I really am a huge, really big supporter of the arts. And I love the arts, both, classical arts to, musical arts. Arts and culture is really, really big for me, and it's really what makes the world go around, in a different capacity. But I see myself either doing that or lecturing one day. I would love to do that as well, and give back. And I think I'll always be definitely doing something of some philanthropy in some sort of way. And I think that's always really big for me, is to give back and help others to become successful. That's always my goal. It really is, especially for like anybody that comes my way, or asks me for help. I'm always incredibly supportive of that. So, like I said, we'll see if I continue down the tech road or if I continue down the art road. We don't know yet until
Keep
I
me
get an
posted
answer.
about how the next week goes.
I
But I thought you
will.
might like to hear this because
How will you
you're into
decide?
the
Will you flip the
sciences.
coin?
No, this is based on a partnership.
Oh,
So I've been asked to come back into tech. I was going to retire from it. But I've been asked by a very high level chief technology officer to come back into the business. And if he wants it to go and we agree on a good partnership, then I'll probably be doing that for a while.
So
and
your love for the sciences, Alka is very big on metaphysics. She's a master of it.
Oh, wow. Love that.
What is your school of thought or philosophy? Is
I
it
love philosophy. I
Mm.
love it. I'm a huge metaphysical lover. I love metaphysics. I do believe in it quite a lot in my own day-to-day life and how it cycles with life. I'm not too sure what religion you practice, but I'm a huge believer in like Hinduism, Buddhism, all of those. Even though I was raised Catholic, but I still love, and you'll see in my home, if you saw my home, I have a lot of statues of Buddha everywhere. I have a lot of Hindu sculptures as well. And I love the Indian culture. I'll be honest with you. I just love everything about it. I've practiced yoga for many years. And that's not the American yoga. That's, the very, very traditional yogic philosophy. And there's a lifestyle that comes with that. It's a responsibility. And so I really love that about that part of life. And the metaphysics, I love metaphysics. I love it. I really do. I mean, I can go very deep down that little rabbit hole of metaphysics and have some really in-depth conversations about it, because it's really about sort of the rules and regulations of the spirit world, of life itself, and metaphysics is it's a beautiful subject. It really is. And I love it. And I'm heavily into it. I've studied it for many years. And it
Mhm.
started with yoga. That's how it started for me. And then I got into what does yoga do for my mind? What does it do for my spirit? What does it do for my different, veiled bodies? Because yoga believes in that, they have different, like 11 or 7 different bodies. And I don't mean physical, I mean ethereal, you know, if you're a spiritual plane, your ethereal plane, I mean, all those different things. And so for me, it's just, I really love metaphysics. So I'm really honored to be talking to you as well, to be such a, doctor of it.
Thank you. And any books you can mention, any authors, for our audience, those who inspired you?
Gosh, that's a tough one because it's been a while since I've read some really good books, but anything that pertains to um, the ancient world, predating sort of the histories that we know of today, anything that has anything to do with those ancient philosophies, that predisposition, the histories of the world today, that's what fascinates me. So it's almost the metaphysics and the sciences behind metaphysics, right? So that really fascinates me. And a lot of those go into the delvement of different religions. And I'm really fascinated by the Eastern religions,
Mm.
mostly. I mean, I should have had some book titles ready, but there's a couple of books. There's one that's called Frequency. I forget the author's name, but it's a fantastic book. And then also just for fictional purposes, the Book of Lost Fragrances. That's always been a really
Mm.
great book. But again, it touches on a lot of metaphysics.
Right.
So it's really great. But there's just so many great books out there. There really is.
So one more question which I want to ask. Sometimes I feel like, question after question, anyhow. When we come across from the pedestal you are, it appears that we are a very strong people and nothing will hurt us.
Mm,
And just take our audience through the weaker journey of yours, where you
mm.
are afraid and you still are, you're still improving this side, that side of yours. So that becomes real to them.
Right, right. So, are you talking about moments where I've been afraid or things have made me scared?
Yeah. And even
Yeah,
now you are still on the path of progressing as a person, as a
right.
business. Yeah.
I'm going to bring up on a subject which might alarm some people or it might make people feel very uncomfortable. But for me, it's people that come out and, when you're a public figure, let's say, and then you get people who come out and threaten your life or threaten your business or threaten your reputation. And I've had those experiences, and those are painful. And
Mhm.
they're very painful because they are malicious attacks. And I experienced that a lot last year, funny enough, where I had incidences where people were threatening my life and other people's lives that I knew in my family, because of my status and because of who I was. And
Mhm.
so that if anything's painful, that's a painful experience because you are scared and you are scared of what they're capable of. So I don't want anyone to think that you can't rise above it, because you do, and you take care of it as you would. But I would say that was one experience for sure that really rattled me a little bit. And I know a lot of public figures or famous actors and actresses go through similar things. But yeah, that's scary. That's
Mhm.
scary. I'll be honest with you.
People get
That's not
jealous.
fun. What's
Jealousy.
that?
They're jealous of you.
Mhm.
And you know what? What's worse, right? What's worse? Is it jealousy, envy? And they want to just bring you down. They call them quote quote haters, right? Haters are gonna hate. That's what they say when they say, well, if you've got haters, you're doing something right in life because they're hating with you for a good reason because you're doing so well. And they don't like it. So, I will say sometimes success can be lonely.
Mm.
It can be a lonely path because you are exalted, you are looked up to, and you are expected to be poised in a certain way all the time. And sometimes that's not the case. It really isn't. I have anxiety sometimes. I have depression sometimes. I'm a woman, just like every other woman. I go through those emotions all the time. So I am not free and clear of the human emotion that comes along being, inside this body and inside this soul. It's just the way it is in life. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was definitely probably some scary moments for me, for
I'm
sure.
in tears imagining what the heck you had to go through. I'm literally in tears right now. I don't even have to know your
Oh,
story.
oh no, it was hate mail, hate email, threatening my life, threatening my family's life, literally threatening me, that capacity. And it hurt, because it was painful, because they would reach out to my staff. I mean, it got really nasty. So we had to get security in place, cyber security in place, things like that. But again, I ask myself, if I was a man, would I be treated in the same manner? I don't think so. I think it's because I'm a woman. I really do. And women get beat up just because they want to shine. So don't let anybody take away your sunshine. They always say that in life. And so, it's definitely made me more a woman of the wiser. And you take more precautions moving forward in business. But yeah, absolutely. It can be terrifying when someone's coming at you that way. But don't let it, and this goes to the metaphoric side, don't let the darkness overshadow your light, right? So shine brighter, and they hate that even more. So it just comes down to having a level of spiritual resilience, I think, is really important. And that's what got me through, Doctor and Nancy. That spiritual resilience and that faith got me through. But I really thank you for your kind gesture. I mean, you're feeling emotional about it, and it
Well, if
wasn't emotional
anybody
to
needed to hear this, it's definitely me. I'm not going through any really traumatic things, but it's ministering to me deep down inside. You don't know.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's wonderful. I'm glad that my story, um, it's less than perfect. It might look perfect, but it's less than perfect. And I want everybody to recognize, take away the veils, take away everything, and look at the reality. I'm always a realist. That's something that I like to invocate in others, is the realism of the world of affairs when it comes to, like, let's say, a fashion model. I have lots of fashion models in my modeling agency. You want to be a model? Well, the world of modeling is not an easy world. I've been there myself. I know what it's like, and I know the rhetoric that goes with it. But a lot of people are in this disillusional world that it's incredibly glamorous. In fact, entertainment is some of the hardest working people are in entertainment. They work their asses off, and that's just the way it is in that world. But tell me a little bit more, Nancy. What is it resonating for you right now? Like, what when I told you that, what did it do inside of you? Is it something that you're feeling that personally, or is it, you don't have to share it if it's very personal. I just was curious.
No, I've had some challenges where so it's an ethnical group that I'm with, and I don't want to say which one because I don't want to
Yeah.
label any culture or religion. About being white, being an American, having American accent. I am also a singer. I also lecture,
Oh,
and the circles that I have been with are chauvinistic, tend to be. I don't want to say
yes,
all of them male chauvinistic, and women are second class, and no
of
chance for
course.
advancement. And there's
Yeah,
always one or two that's the ringleader.
I hear you. And it's a form
Yeah.
of bullying, right? It's a form of
Well,
bullying.
it's not really
Yeah.
bullying where they attacked me, but they would go out of their way and go to other locations and just,
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, no, I completely relate. And I think that is what
both
won
me and those dear
over.
to me. And then they would not be excluded from participating in certain
Oh
functions.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I really feel for you, and I get it. I really
I
do.
call it religious politics, religious
There you go.
politicians. I
There
don't
you
blame the
go.
religion. I blame the religious politicians, the fundamentalists, the ones that don't even bother studying their religious texts. They only believe fake preachers.
Right, right. And their own morals, right? Their own, what
Yeah,
works for them only. And
right,
it becomes very
right.
selfish. And then what's the practice of religion is selflessness,
Yeah,
right? That's the
right,
practice of religion.
right.
That's what our messiahs have always taught us
Mm.
is selflessness and sacrifice. Where is that in people? They don't do that, do they? No. So
But
I
it
mean I
also hit home. I was teased a lot during elementary school, all my
oh
elementary years, but I let it bother me. I thought I was supposed to let it bother me and that I was supposed to fight it. Well, I fought it the wrong way. I kept chasing after them, name calling me. I ended up being the fastest sprinter in my community. Very
wow.
athletic, but yeah, that's the good from the bad experience. But I learned the hard way.
I think we all learn the hard way. I think we're not free from pain. I
Right.
Yeah,
think pain is the human condition,
yeah.
right? We're not free of, nobody's free from pain. We all go through different
Mm,
levels of pain in the human condition.
mm,
We're born,
right.
we live, we grow, we get sick, we grow old, we lose people we love. I've been through all of that. I've lost my parents at a very young age. I know what the pain of death can bring, and that's reality. These are realities,
Yeah.
and we're not here for forever. That's the other thing too. So make it a good journey,
Mhm.
and along the path, I've always, what really kept me going, ladies, was the fact that I said to myself, what have I got to lose? Nothing, absolutely nothing. So go for it. And that's why I've always gone for it because I have got literally nothing to lose, nothing in this life. I've got just this life. Let's utilize it, let's enjoy it.
Mm.
And, I am a big believer if we're talking about metaphysics and reincarnation. So I do believe in that. If we come back and we cycle around
Right.
spiritually, let's say, um definitely, what did I learn in this life? What did I learn? What do I want to leave behind? And that's the selflessness of the human and the soul is, hey, what's my legacy? Is my legacy my family? Is my legacy my children? Is my legacy something I've helped contribute to humankind as a race? What is it? My legacy? What do I want to leave behind? That's selflessness in life.
Mm.
That's the best thing to learn is how can I be of service in life, I think.
Right. Right.
Beautiful.
I can tell, from what you're talking, it doesn't come easy. It has come by going through the process, right? And I myself feel that, when you are good for nothing, nobody's your friend. When you are top here, then people are not your friend because that is a lonely place because they're jealous of you. They don't want to sympathize with you because you are so well off. You're so well known. So for me, I think that I have so much of brilliance that it blinds all of them, you know, because that
Yeah,
is the way. You have to
right,
still make more journey and shine so bright that they
right.
just get blinded by it, you know.
It's true. It is, it's funny. I was watching a quote from, I think it was Martin Luther King just the other day, and he was doing one of his sermons or just one of his lectures and public speaking lectures. And he basically said, when you shine so bright, when you shine your light, there are those out there that want to eliminate it, and to a point where they want to hurt you to eliminate it,
Mm.
that they'll kill you to eliminate it. And look at all those people out there that have been, you know, at the highest of their illumination.
Mm.
Sometimes, depending on what industry you're in and what you're doing, they are, taken out, you might say, by whoever. And it's not a negative thing. It's not, I'm not saying this is a negative subject we're going down. What I'm saying is that when you shine bright, sometimes this world can't handle that, you
Mhm.
know. And I'm not saying that we're not supposed to be here. We are. We're here for a reason. And on a metaphysical plane, if you want to say that, my soul wants to be here to learn a journey, right? So it's sort of like for me, I'm all about shining as bright as I can. And like I said, and I've had a lot of energy coming at me that's been, the more I've shown, the more negative it's come at me. But then sometimes you just get this alleviation where you,
Mm.
when you surpass that, like you said, and you have to shine even brighter to surpass it. And I think that is the key.
That's
I
okay.
really do. I agree with you.
I almost sent you a text and I deleted it on LinkedIn, but I'll
Oh,
share it with you now. It was a thought that really came to my heart.
oh,
Every tiny spectacle in the universe, every flake of sand, and throughout time, every drop of water, throughout all the eons, was put in its place, is being put in its place, and will be put in its place just for you. That's how much the Creator loves you, and you
oh.
are special. I should have texted that to you.
Oh, you're so sweet. No, that's very, very kind. I love life, and I've had my pains, my trials, my tribulations, and that's the yin and the yang of life, right?
Yeah.
You have to go through that. But that's incredibly sweet of you. Thank you so much. I mean, I'll hold that close to my heart today. I'll
And
walk
it's
with
true for
that.
each one of us. We all have our own world. There's in Kabbalah, which is Jewish mysticism, Tikkun Olam, repairing the world. It's our own world we're repairing. We ruin it. I'm not saying environment physically. I'm saying our world that we're put
Yes,
in is perfect, is beautiful, but we mess it up. Our
right.
actions, our attitudes. If there's
Exactly.
compassion, there's mercy and compassion, which comes in too, which is great. All of nature is
Absolutely.
optimistic with us.
I love it. No, it's so true. Compassion is huge. You have to have a high level of compassion in
Mhm.
life, just in general. And I think even to be a business owner, you have to have a high level of compassion. Uh, or CEO, whatever. The higher up you go, the harder it is. It's like climbing the mountain. How hard is it to climb that mountain? Really goddamn hard. And when you're up, it's really hard to live up there for a long period of time, right? So you can't do it for forever. That's the thing too. The realization is as well is that it is kind of like this pinnacleization of life and also of a career. You can't burn out as a CEO for years and years and years and years. You just can't do it because it will kill you eventually. It's too much of something.
Yeah. Dr. Alka has helped a lot of high CEOs with whatever ups and downs they've had, and
Wow.
she's a lifesaver.
I believe it.
Even
I
just
believe
normal
it.
people like me, she's helped me tremendously. She has her own Zoom sessions with people, soulbodyhealingcenter.com.
Wow.
I'll
I
share
love
that with you later, but
I would love that.
she
I would
has
love
brought
that.
smiles on so many people.
I
And
love that.
people physically got healed too. I mean, I've had sinus problems for months and months. She had me sit down. She has a technique that you do. It's not a transcendental meditation, but you're unwinding. And the next day I
Mhm.
woke up, I didn't need the antibiotics. I didn't start it anyway. Once you start it, you have to do the full prescription. But,
Right.
and that's it. A lot of our diseases are because of our immune system and
Right.
because of something we're not doing right.
Yeah.
We're
And a
not
lot of
doing.
it's the world we live in. It's so stressful. And
Yeah.
let's be honest. Let's say the Western world or the world at large here in the United States, especially, and unless you're in such as where Dr. Madden is or yourself, you're in an area where or in your life where you're able to be holistic constantly, a holistic lifestyle. But then that also means that you have to live. You can't live in like the modernization of the world 100% because they always say if you live in the working man's world, you need working man medicine.
Mm.
If you live in the world of a more um easier lifestyle, like say a yogic lifestyle or something, you can take the medicines of nature. But I would agree with you that you definitely need to, as maintenance. I've always loved like the Ayurvedic way. Ayurvedism is amazing, and the yogic way for me is always really transcended really heavily into my soul, my spirit.
Mm.
So I mean, I'm sure Dr. Madden, I'm not 100% well versed in your
Mhm.
practice, but I'm quite sure it's a lot of it might be Ayurvedic medicine and so forth. Am I correct?
Yes, natural living and Ayurveda is my key.
She's a natural healer.
Right.
Oh, that's the best. That's the
I
best.
was I was just I want to put it together over here for us, for you also, and the new book or the latest book which I'm writing, the title is, it says it all, being in love versus being loved. So, a CEO person like you have to be compassionate for your own self, be in love with yourself. I think that is the most crucial part and most neglected, always caring for others, because people will ask you, what are you doing for the world? So no, I just say, like, what are you doing for yourself? Because in our journey, we just keep forgetting ourselves. We get split in so many pieces, you know.
Yes.
So that is what is, when you said everything is important, but then that is what, I want you to, you might be doing it already, is that, taking care of your own self.
I'm getting much better at it, Dr. Madden. I'll be honest with you, Nancy. I made that commitment this year. I made the commitment to make some really big changes. And part of that is focusing only on one thing, taking care of my health, number two, and taking care of my diet, number three, and my mental, physical, and spiritual health. That was critical for me to make those changes. And sometimes you need to know when to walk away. I think that's important too. When you have a career, you've had it for a period of time, and you know it's time for the change because it's affecting your holistic being. If you want to live a few more decades, let it go, move on. You know what I mean? It just, like I said, you can't maintain with your foot on the accelerator for forever. It
Right.
just, that you'll burn the engine out, and the engine is us, right? So I'm using a lot of metaphoric terms, but at the same time, I agree with you. This has been a great, wonderful conversation for me today because it shows me spiritually I'm lining up in the right place. Because I'm talking to two lovely ladies and to our audience who are all into this holistic spiritual way of existence. And it's good for me to hear that calling. And that's the universe coming back to me and saying, hey, we're here for you. And this is the universe talking to me right now, being here, which is why
Where
Nancy
are
reached
you right
out.
now? You're in Oregon?
Yes, yes.
You're
Same
so right.
background.
We don't meet, incidentally, we meet coincidentally, like, so that's why we are supposed to meet today, and we met. And this journey of yours can be good for people, those who are still have their foot on the accelerator and they still want to run fast. It's good for them.
Right.
And maybe after this year, you will have notes for the people, those who want to take their foot off the accelerator, right?
I think that is the year of 2024. I think it's like, hey, slow it down. This isn't a race, and it's about really going deep down inside and going, okay, what is my true purpose of being here
Mhm.
as a soul, in this life? And what do I want to inspire others or leave behind? And that was just my journey. That's my journey. Everybody's journey is unique. And my journey was always to inspire others. And that's to be of service to others, whether people believe that or not. When you are this person, you're out there and you're inspiring others to be the best they can be, right? And I don't want to ever encourage anything that's false. I'm a truth seeker. So
Mm.
for me, it's all about the truth behind everything. I will say it as it is, whether you like it or not, you like the answer, you don't like the answer. I'm sorry, but that's the reality. And I like to be realistic about everything that I do or that I pass on because that's the most important thing. A good quote from Elon Musk, and I will also concur with him, even though he's a male entrepreneur and he's incredibly successful, he has, imagine the burdens on his shoulders. I mean, that's really heavy, right? But for someone like him, I think the best quote is, don't ever live in wishful thinking. That's the worst thing you can do is to live in a false reality of what's not real and hoping things are going to change and they never do. That's wishful thinking. That's no different than being in an abusive relationship. That's no different than being in anything that isn't healthy for you. That's a form, oh, it's going to get better, or it's going to change. No, it doesn't. It won't. It will always stay constant. There's nothing you can do. Don't waste your efforts. If there's anything I can leave the ladies or the audience that you have with is live your best life and live it to the fullest. Take those risks and go out there and be the person you want to be. You're not going to lose anything that people think they are. That's the thing. It's like, if you take it from a metaphorical standpoint, there is no such thing as loss, because the universe will always give back. So, go out there, take those risks, go out there and be yourself. But at the same time, don't live in wishful thinking that, if it is going a certain way, don't think it's going to get better. Sometimes it doesn't. It's always better to take that time out and recollect what is working and go with what works and go with what resonates with you. I think that's the most important thing that we can do as human beings, is to go with what resonates with your frequency as a soul, as a person. And that's the best way to live our life. And if we have one life, live it, enjoy it, be grateful for every moment, every day that you can get up and you can become something great. And like I said, I used to dream. Like I said, my dream started as a very young little girl. And like I said, for me, it was all about fashion. So I went down that path and I became a model, and I became a top model. So, that was in my youth when I was younger. But it can happen, it can really happen. And don't take rejection as the full stop. Rejection is just the beginning, is part of the journey. It comes with the territory, So yeah, hopefully this has, inspired
Very
a lot of
inspiring.
women out
And
there.
yeah, and I'm, happy that you created your own world of beauty,
Thank you.
And
No, I appreciate that.
If you ever
living in a
need me,
beautiful world.
call me. If you ever want to talk,
Absolutely.
call me.
Sounds great.
I'm
I
not
love
affiliated with anything. I'm neutral. I
I
want to
love
bless you
that.
any way I can. We want to bless you any way we can.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much.
much.
It's been a very relaxing, almost like coming back to the innocence of the spirit, talking about this. And I'm not talking from a religious standpoint. I'm just talking about that we're all soul beings and we're all here for united purpose. And being woman, coming in as a woman, we came in as women for a reason, right? So we're all here to inspire. And I'm definitely inspired by both of you ladies today. I
Thank
want
you
to thank you so much for your time. It's been really precious. Thank you so much.
Very enlightening 1 hour we had with you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, ladies.
Yeah.